guys, I'm Candace. Today I'm going to be talking about money. You love money, I love money, money is love us. So, yeah, that's why. We have loans, debts to pay all the time, school loans, and we all have to deal with. Yeah, that's what we have to deal with every day. Don't you guys just wish you could just be the government and print out all the money and just pay it all? But no, we can't do that. Because it's going to bring us a lot of negative effects. Actually, you can bring good things to yourself, good outcomes to yourself. That's really selfish. Yeah, but sadly, that's what our government is doing right now. Our government is putting money to pay for our national debt. So, what I mean by the government printing money, I mean that the U.S. federal government decided to make a monetary policy which makes the central bank print more money than usual to pay for the debts. This policy is also known as the QE3, quantitative easing. So my proposition today is going to be printing money to pay for our national debts will harm the U.S. economy. But why did our government think it was okay? Because President Lincoln has done the same thing. Lincoln printed out like $400 million to pay for the Civil War. And he won. He succeeded. That's why our government thinks it's okay. Let's just print out money to pay for our national debts. But it's a different generation now. Lincoln didn't borrow money from other countries. Our current government has borrowed a lot of money from a lot of countries, like China. And it's international now. That's why this policy is not going to work anymore. It's not effective anymore. It's going to cause a lot of issues. So my first supporting point is going to be it causes inflation. Printing money is a way to increase money supply and decrease the interest rate that the central bank controls, which means that people will be able to loan money more easily, people have money, people will be rich, and then prices will go up due to the increase of demand. To make it simple and say, I'm feeling great right now, I'm going to give you guys, each of you guys $1 million, and we all want Xbox right now, because it's cool, it's got connected and essential. So we're all going to go get it from Walmart, but there's only 10 Xbox at Walmart, and there's 30 of us. So what's Walmart going to do? It's going to increase the price. That's when inflation happens. Inflation, why is inflation bad? Inflation causes the economy unstable. When the economy is unstable, we can predict like the future prices in the future. So Dennis Carton, who did the National Bureau of Economic Research, found out that usually there are set prices for all products made by the invisible hands. You guys are taking economics, which means it just means the market itself. So the market is controlling all the prices. So inflation messes up the set prices. We're unable to predict the future prices in the future economy. Secondly, printing money will cause unemployment. In the National Bureau of Economic Research, it states that a fiscal policy can make a change of the natural rate of unemployment in the short run. In this case, the policy is printing money. It will cause unemployment simply because when money supply goes up, wages go up, and the employers will want to hire you for higher wages. The third supporting claim I have is the QE3, which is this policy, causes the volume of money to go down. According to the history of the exchange rate was $1 US to 82 Japanese yen last year. Now it's $1 to 78 yen. So clearly the value of US dollar went down. So my parents, they're in Taiwan, I'm really foreign, but they're paying less money than you guys. Why? Less tuition money, because they're paying in Taiwanese dollar. So they're paying less money, that's great, but that's sadly because the value of US dollar went down. Next, other countries are spending less money to buy US products because our value of money went down. So our country is making less money from other countries. Therefore, our economic growth will decrease. Okay, in conclusion, QE3 will bring the economy negative effects of inflation, unemployment, and lowering the value of money. An economist who has won several economics awards has said, if we print more money, prices will rise such that we're no better off than we were before. So the government really should do this. Should take money to solve problems. Thank you guys.
Right, your proposition, it doesn't quite have multiple parts, but it does have a dependent clause in it that is kind of a presupposition or the antecedent of your conditional statement here, and that is that we're doing this in order to pay for things that we want, and I think that you need to demonstrate that. I don't think there's a lot of doubt about that, but there's easy statistics that show how much we're borrowing for every dollar that we spend, and you don't bother even talking about that. That's, like I said, that's mostly just a presupposition. That would, I think, be good background information in the presentation. There's no setup of what the supporting structure is going to be at the beginning of the speech. Now, you do signpost the points as you go through the speech, and I thought you did a pretty good job of that, but it did take you 2 minutes to get to the first point, and it was a 5-minute and 20-second speech, so that means that the body of the speech was only 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and that gives you about a minute to talk about each of those points, and I think that you need to develop those points a little bit more. Sometimes you have some explanation, sometimes you have an example. Most of the examples that you have are hypothetical in nature, and there's just a ton of research that's talking about these issues. Even in the political process that's going on right now, there's a lot of controversy about budgets and deficits and the impact that the debt is going to have. So I'm not sure why you didn't bother finding some particular hard data on this to go along with the general descriptions that you have, because I think that that would make your argument a little bit more convincing. I'm not quite clear why the first and the third point are separate points, because if it causes inflation and the value of the money goes down, isn't that the same thing? Well, that sounds to me like it's exactly the same argument. So maybe you only really have 2 points instead of 3 points. And you've divided it up because the third point you're going to use to illustrate the value of the money is actually increasing overseas. I think it's more the buying power thing that you're talking about there and the disproportionate transfer of wealth to other countries that's going on, like Taiwan, for instance. And you use the example of your parents. I assume you're talking about paying for school here. Yeah, you know, it's a bargain here because although they're paying the same price as everybody else is paying, it's a smaller portion of the wealth that they have than it is for people living here. That's basically where there's a transfer of wealth going on, and I think that you could explain that a little bit more clearly. All right, thank you.